Imagine this. You're already late, boarding has started, and at security, an officer pulls out your medication pouch. No questions, no explanations. They simply say, "This can't go through." For many travelers in 2026, this moment is becoming all too common, not because you did anything wrong, but because the rules for traveling with medication have quietly changed. Liquid medicines, prescription creams, even pills you've flown with for years, what used to be fine might now be delayed, questioned, or even taken from you if you're not prepared. Some 2026 updates mean that even small changes in labeling or documentation can trigger extra screening, so being informed is more critical than ever. If you carry prescription medications, over-the-counter treatments, or medical creams, this video is for you. I'll break down exactly what changed, why travelers are getting caught off guard, and a step-by-step system to pass airport security and international customs without stress. We'll cover what medications must stay in your carry-on, which liquids trigger extra screening in 2026, how labeling mistakes can lead to confiscation, the single most common mistake that turns a normal security check into a travel nightmare. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to pack, declare, and carry your medications so your health needs never derail your travel plans again. Have you ever had a medication questioned at airport security? Comment below, you might help someone avoid the same problem. The golden rule: never pack meds in checked bags. Before we dive into liquids, labels, or security rules, remember this. Never separate yourself from your essential medications while traveling. That means no checked luggage, and ideally, not even your overhead carry-on. Your medications should live in the one bag that never leaves your side, your personal item, the backpack or purse that stays under the seat in front of you. This advice is more important than ever in 2026, because airlines are increasingly forcing passengers to gate-check roller bags, especially on full flights. Even travelers who plan to keep their carry-on with them can lose access at the last minute. Once your bag is out of your hands, you've lost control. Checked luggage can be delayed for hours, days, or in some cases, never arrive. If it contains critical medications, insulin, heart medicine, seizure medication, the problem can become urgent. Now imagine dealing with that in a foreign city. Finding a doctor, explaining your condition, paying for emergency prescriptions, all while stressed and jet-lagged. This scenario happens more often than you might think, which is why your first line of defense is packing smart. Always place your essential medications in your personal item first before anything else. Security rules can be managed, but lost luggage cannot. Protect your health by keeping what you need within reach from departure to landing. Do you usually carry medications in your personal bag or your overhead? Comment below, your tip could save someone from a travel nightmare. Prescription pills. Organizers versus original bottles. Now that we've covered where to pack your medications, let's talk about how to carry them, because this is where many travelers unknowingly create problems. The most common question I get is, can I use a weekly pill organizer, or do I need the original pharmacy bottles? The answer depends entirely on where you're flying. For domestic flights within the United States, TSA focuses on security threats, not verifying prescriptions. This means pill organizers are generally allowed, so you won't be breaking any rules by using them. That said, allowed doesn't always mean ideal. Original pharmacy bottles are clearly labeled with the medication name, dosage, prescribing doctor, and patient name, which makes them instantly recognizable to security officers. Screening moves faster, and you avoid unnecessary questions. Loose pills in an organizer aren't illegal, but in some cases, especially during heightened 2026 screening protocols, they can attract extra attention. For domestic trips, organizers are convenient, but original bottles reduce friction and stress. When it comes to international travel, the rules change. Crossing borders means you're no longer just dealing with airport security, you are subject to customs and the drug laws of another country. Loose or unlabeled pills can be a serious issue. Customs officials shave no proof of what the pills are, who they were prescribed to, or whether they're legal. Original pharmacy containers act as documentation, clearly showing the medication name, dosage, prescribing physician, and patient name, which should match your passport. Imagine arriving in a foreign country with unlabeled pills and being questioned for hours, facing delays, stress, or even fines, all while jet-lagged and navigating an unfamiliar medical system. In 2026, international customs are stricter than ever, and unclear labeling can turn a simple trip into a nightmare. Simple rule to remember. For domestic flights, organizers may work, but original bottles make everything smoother. For international flights, always carry original, clearly labeled pharmacy containers. When in doubt, choose the option that requires the least explanation. The fewer questions you invite, the smoother your journey. Do you usually travel with pill organizers or original bottles? Comment below. Your experience might help someone avoid a travel nightmare. Medically necessary liquids. What the 3-1-1 rule does not apply to for many travelers. Liquids are the most stressful part of airport security, and with good reason. We've all memorized the 3-1-1 rule. Small bottles, one clear bag, no exceptions. But medically necessary liquids are different. On DEAM 2026, TSA screening has become stricter overall. This means even travelers carrying legally allowed medications can get stopped if they aren't prepared. The good news: medically necessary liquids, gels, and aerosols are not limited to 3.4 ounces. TSA allows quantities appropriate for the length and purpose of your trip. This exemption covers a wide range of items, including prescription liquid medications like cough syrups, over-the-counter medical liquids such as saline, injectable medications and pre-filled pens, prescription creams, gels, and ointments, and ice packs or gel packs used to keep medication at a safe temperature. The key is how you handle them. Medical liquids should be separated from your regular toiletries and placed in a clear bag so they're immediately identifiable. When you arrive at security, declare them before your bag is scanned with a simple statement like, "I'm carrying medically necessary liquids." This triggers the correct screening process. If you prefer not to have your medication pass through an X-ray, you can request a visual inspection. TSA allows this if asked calmly and early. The most common mistake travelers make is packing medical liquids like regular toiletries or hoping they won't be noticed. That almost always backfires, leading to extra screening, searches, and unnecessary stress. In 2026, TSA officers are more vigilant, and proper declaration is your fastest route to a smooth process. Rule to remember: medical liquids aren't restricted, undeclared liquids are. Separate them, declare them, and you can travel with what your health requires without fear of losing it at security. Have you ever had your liquid medication questioned at security? Share your experience in the comments. It could help other travelers avoid delays. Sharps and medical devices. How to travel without problems. Medical equipment can cause extra anxiety at the airport, especially items that might look concerning at first glance, like needles or electronic devices. The good news is that these items are allowed in 2026, as long as you handle them correctly. Needles and syringes. Syringes and needles are permitted in carry-on bags, but they should never travel alone. They need to be clearly connected to the medication they're intended for, such as insulin. Make sure the medication is kept in its original labeled container. This immediately clarifies the purpose to security officers. For safety and organization, store sharps in a hard-sided case or travel sharps container. Loose needles without context can raise questions, but proper packaging prevents most issues before they start. Wearable and emergency medical devices. Devices like insulin pumps, continuous glucose monitors, CGMs, EpiPens, and inhalers are all allowed through airport security. If you're wearing a device, inform the officer before screening begins. You are not required to remove these devices, and if you have concerns about scanners, you can request alternative screening, including a pat-down. The key is timing. Speak up early, calmly, and clearly. Getting extra help. TSA cares. Travelers with medical conditions, complex devices, or anxiety around screening can use TSA Cares, a free assistance program. Contact them at least 72 hours before your flight, and in some cases, they can arrange a trained support specialist to help you at the airport. This is especially useful for first-time travelers with medical equipment or during busy travel periods. Rule that makes everything easier. Medical equipment isn't the problem, lack of communication is. Pack sharps properly, keep devices identifiable, and explain what you're carrying before screening begins. Preparation plus communication turns a stressful process into a smooth, manageable experience, even under the stricter 2026 security rules. Do you travel with medical devices? What's your tip for smooth airport screening? Comment below, it could help someone on their next trip. Over-the-counter medications. What's safe and what can go wrong? So far we've focused a lot on prescriptions, but for many travelers, over-the-counter, OTC, medications are what actually save the trip. Headache relief. allergy medicine, stomach medicine, and the basics you reach for when something unexpected hits. For travel within the United States, the rules around OTC pills are very relaxed. Medications like pain relievers, allergy tablets, or anti-diarrheal pills are allowed in any reasonable quantity. You can keep them in their original packaging or use a pill organizer. TSA generally does not scrutinize these items. Liquid OTC medications follow the same medical exemption rules we discussed earlier. Larger containers, like contact lens solution or liquid cough medicine, are allowed as long as you separate and declare them at security. Where travelers often run into trouble is international travel. This is one of the biggest blind spots. Assuming a medication freely sold in the US is automatically legal everywhere else. That is not the case in 2026, as countries regulate medications based on local laws, manufacturing controls, and public health policies. Some common US medications are restricted or even prohibited abroad. For example, pseudoephedrine, found in cold medicines, is restricted in countries like Japan. Codeine, in certain painkillers or cough syrups, is a controlled narcotic in parts of Europe and the Middle East. Diphenhydramine, allergy medications, may be limited in some destinations. The key takeaway: the issue isn't how common the medication is at home, it's how the destination country classifies it. For any international trip, research every medication you plan to carry. The most reliable sources are the official websites of your destination country's embassy or customs authority. A few minutes of research before departure can prevent confiscation, fines, or serious legal trouble. Have you ever had an OTC medication questioned while traveling internationally? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could help someone avoid fines or delays. International customs and the documentation. Trinity. Getting through TSA is only half the journey. Once you land in another country, you're operating under an entirely different legal system. In 2026, international customs enforcement around medications is stricter and more consistent than ever, and "I didn't know" is not an excuse that works at the border. To avoid problems, I recommend what I call the documentation Trinity. These are the 3 things you should carry for every prescription medication when traveling internationally. First, original labeled pharmacy containers. This is the foundation. Never transfer prescription pills into organizers for international trips. The original bottle proves what the medication is, who it was prescribed to, the dosage, and the prescribing doctor. This single step alone can prevent most customs issues. Second, copies of your prescription. Carry a paper copy for each medication. This adds an extra layer of legitimacy if customs officers want confirmation that the medication is legally prescribed. Third, and most important, a doctor's letter. This is your strongest protection if questions arise. The letter should include your full name and date of birth, the brand and generic names of the medication, the medical condition it treats, dosage and total quantity you're carrying, and your doctor's name, contact information, and signature. For added safety, have the letter translated into the official language of your destination. Some medications require extreme caution in 2026. ADHD medications like Adderall or Ritalin, anti-anxiety drugs such as Xanax or Valium, strong painkillers, and certain sleep aids are tightly regulated or banned in many countries. Before traveling with these, contact the embassy or consulate of your destination, check rules for layover countries, confirm supply limits, and verify whether special permits are required or if the medication is prohibited entirely. The International Narcotics Control Board maintains a country-by-country database of medication regulations. Use it as a starting point, but always confirm details directly with the embassy, because rules change frequently. Did you know about the doctor's letter requirement before this video? Comment yes or no. I'm curious how many travelers are prepared. Organizing your medications for travel. The medical kit system. Once you've gathered the right documentation, the final step is how you organize everything, and this is where many travelers still make avoidable mistakes. In 2026, the travelers who pass through security smoothly aren't the ones with fewer medications, but the ones who are organized. The most effective system is simple: create a dedicated medical kit. Use a single, clear bag and keep everything related to your health in one place. This includes original pill bottles, liquid medications, prescription copies, and your doctor's letter. When everything is consolidated, security screening becomes faster and less stressful. You can place the medical kit in a bin by itself, and officers immediately understand what they're looking at. Before you leave home, do a final medication check. Make sure you've packed enough for the entire trip plus at least a 1-week buffer. Flight delays, cancellations, and unexpected extensions happen all the time. In many countries, refilling a prescription isn't just difficult, it may be impossible without a local doctor and approval. That buffer can be the difference between inconvenience and a medical emergency. Next, create a digital backup. Take clear photos of your prescriptions, medication labels, and doctor's letter. Store them on your phone and in a secure cloud service. If your bag is delayed, documents are misplaced, or customs requests proof, these digital copies can save you time, stress, and serious complications. This system works because it removes uncertainty. You're not searching through bags, explaining items one by one, or hoping security doesn't notice. You're prepared, organized, and in control, exactly what airport security and customs want to see. Do you already travel with a medical kit, or is this something you'll start doing now? Comment below. Your routine might help another traveler.